Thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate that very much, first of all. First of all, the projector went out? Is that right? How long did it go out for? I just want to just quickly. How long was it out for? And when was it? When the video?
Right after Gabe DM'd her.
DM'd her, okay.
Yeah, and then...
Do you know what this sounds like to me? Anyway, it was like the bummer part, though, right? Okay. Well, the movie's about momentum, and you're not supposed to sit in the bummer for so long. So just keep that in mind. I don't know. You know what I don't know. Truly, I was tired of myself as a subject. Truly, I feel like I had exhausted myself. As I was so tired of speaking through my own head. You know what I mean? And like, I had nothing more to say about myself through myself. And I was desperate to collaborate with other people. And I wanted to be involved with something that didn't have my face on it, because when you're involved with something that has your face on it, you have a much more complex relationship to it. I can actually watch this movie and enjoy it because I enjoy her so much. And with myself, I can never feel that way. And there wasn't a part for me. You know what I mean? Like, this is the script I wanted to write, and there was no part for me to play. Thank God. And if I had tried to get in, it would have been very strange.
So do you think that your own background in making YouTube videos influenced the way in which you made this film?
The background of making YouTube videos?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, like, the internet in 2006, when I was making that stuff, it asked very little of you in the same way. You know, I relate to her experience with the internet personally now. You know what I mean? I feel like I have more in common with her now in my relationship to the internet than then. Like, 2006 was really just like, make a funny thing and post it. And now it really is like, I mean, with Instagram and Twitter being usually the things that kids of that age use, it's what do you look like? What do you think? What do you look like? What do you think? I mean, those are like really base, weird, deep questions to ask of kids. So yeah, I really didn't want to go like, again, I didn't want to project my 10-year-old memory of the internet onto the movie. You know, I want it to be from her perspective and from the current perspective. So I'm sure it informed me a little, but that wasn't the impulse. Like, oh, I grew up on the internet, so I'll do someone growing up on the internet. It was more like, I'm freaked out by the internet. I wonder if other people are freaked out by the internet, and she was.
And especially being just, you know, in 8th grade and being freaked out about everything.
Well, yeah, and also like everyone seems to act like 8th graders on the internet too. It just feels like the internet and the cultural conversation is kind of existing on an 8th grade level. So it was like, you know, if I wanted to talk about what it felt like to be alive, I don't know, it feels like the whole country's in 8th grade right now or something. You know?
So is that part of what inspired you to take on a coming-of-age story, especially one from a girl's point of view?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, coming of age is weird to me because I'm like, I'm coming of age. It's just the age of 28. You know what I mean? Right. Truly, like, I don't know. I mean, truthfully, I watched hundreds of videos of young kids talking online about themselves. But really, and like, the boys tended to talk about Minecraft, the girls tended to talk about their souls, so it was just like, well, I think I'm going to probably talk about the girls, because like, I don't know, the 13-year-old boy story would be like 90 minutes of Fortnite references or something, and like, the girl actually gets a little deeper than that. And also, it was like, again, like, I feel like stories about young people feel like the memories of adults. And like, nostalgic stories are cool, I like those, but I didn't want to make that. Yeah. So it being a girl, like, I couldn't project my own experience onto it, and I actually had to be humble going into the story, and because my disconnect from her is twofold. You know, I was never a 13-year-old girl, and I was never a 13-year-old right now. You know, and both of those things, I think, lend themselves to a specific experience. So that was the impulse of it. It was just like, I told the kids and her every day, like, you know the truth of this. We don't. So, you know, tell us. And that was the point of it, just to empower her and the kids to be able to share whatever was true to them. And
were all of the kids actually around that age? Because oftentimes when you see teen films, there'll be, you know, kids who are older, or especially, you know, if you want them to be able to work longer, you want them to be at least 18.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing, was we shot for 27 days, but it was 9-hour days because she's 13. She's in every, I mean, she graduated 8th grade. We filmed the movie, and then she went to high school. Yeah, she went to her freshman year. Yeah. And she didn't get cast in her school play. when she returned to high school. So I promised I would shout out Mr. Donia from Thousand Oaks High School as a piece of shit. But yeah, it is all kids of that age. Even like the high schoolers. I mean, like the high schoolers to me look like babies, but like that is what 17 and 18-year-old and 16-year-old kids look like. So yeah, that was very important to me. You know, it feels like, I don't like when people that aren't that age play that age.
Well, it definitely brings you out of the experience. And in this case, I mean, we're very much with Kayla from just the way that she looks at us and then just kind of in her experiences.
Yeah, and it's like the way actors play an age that they've already been, they play it with a sense of I've been through it and I understand it, and the real truth of that age is I'm in it and I have no fucking idea what's going on. You know what I mean? Truly.
Yes, yeah.
That's how I feel now. I mean, really. And that was, that was important. I mean, and what's so beautiful about what Elsie brings to the movie is that, like, she really is bringing, like, her current struggles and thoughts to the movie in a way that's very, very vulnerable and brave. It's just incredible for her to do that.
Did she bring some of that even to the script process, or like was she, or just using it in her performance?
Yeah, it's like, because a lot of the performance was, it's not about the words she says, it's about the thoughts in her head that she's thinking of saying and then not saying or whatever. So it isn't so much in the script. Like the script is more written than it appears. A lot of people think it's improvised, but it's a disservice to her to think it's improvised. It wasn't like, you just be you and then we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we were filming like Babe or Homeward Bound. Like truly, it was like she was giving like a real performance, you know.
Right. I'm glad that she's not a pig.
Yeah, but really, I actually thought that'd be the worry though, that it was I would have to direct these kids like animal actors, where it's like they're going to have no idea what movie's going on, but and I didn't want to do that, and I was so surprised to find it wasn't the case. You know, I mean, they were, and her especially is, you know, she knew the performance she was giving. But yeah, she informs everything. I mean, like, I don't know what Gucci means. That was something she said. You know what I mean? I have no idea what that means. She would just say that on set all the time. And then I would do it like as a joke back to her because she thought it was, you know, it's embarrassing when older people do anything.
Right.
And then
that I also know.
And then it got so banal that it was literally like gaffers being like, "Is this Gucci or not?" And then we filmed the videos at the end of the shoot, and it was like I wanted her to sign off, and I was like, "Oh, it should be her." So she literally like has the last word of the movie, which I really like. But then, yeah, Rick and Morty. I've never even seen the show, but they liked it. They were talking about that shit, and like, a lot of the stuff, and like a lot of her interests and things, I just sort of let be hers.
Was that the same with the actor who played Gabe as well? Because it seems like there's a lot of the nervousness that's part of him that it would be pretty hard to make up. Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he might not be. Like, I was convinced I was going to see him like on like Fifth Avenue smoking a cigarette and be like, wait a second. But we tested him because we had cast Elsie, and I brought him in to test with her, and they just sat down. I'm like, just improvise and vibe it out. And he was like, "You like tacos?" And she was like, and she goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Hard shell or soft?" And I'm like, you have the part. Like, just, like, go away. And I just made sure, like, I was like, do not talk to each other. Like, do not exchange numbers. Right. We have to save all this for the set. And then when his scene was one of the last scenes we filmed, and when I showed up, they were like bonding over Rick and Morty, and I was like, stop. And it's so funny, Elsie, who does some, really vulnerable, scary stuff in this movie. Yeah. When I asked her at the end of when she finally saw the movie, I was like, what was the hardest part to watch? She was like, oh, the Rick and Morty scene is like that is actually what she's most embarrassed by in the whole movie. So what did you learn about the teen girl experience from making this film?
I don't know. Like, truthfully, I don't see it as that small. I don't. I hope I service that. Mm-hmm. I hope I was communicative with the actors, the women around me that I collaborated with, to make sure I was servicing the specific experience of a young girl. But I believe really that there's a thing that's like, oh, the only stories about the human condition are about like men wandering around New York City all sad, or some like poet in the woods, you know what I mean? So like, I don't think of it as the teenage female experience only. Again, I hope it services that, but I don't know. I think she's as valid a conduit for what it means to be alive now as anything. So it's a little bit of a dodge, but like, I just think, I don't look at it like that, you know? In my life, I've connected most personally and emotionally with movies that I don't align with demographically. And it is because I see like, oh, we share something very deep in feeling or whatever. So I learned about myself. I learned about my own anxiety. I learned about what it meant to just be in the world and persevere and think and be confused and put yourself out there. Yeah, and that's had by anybody, you know what I mean? But I mean, the little things is like, oh, you like Hollister? You know, I don't know, but I mean, you know, but like that is decorative, you know? Again, I know there is, of course, a specific female experience that I did really try to service, but my hope is that a 40-year-old, 50-year-old guy can see this movie and see themselves in her. And, you know what I mean? I'm not making a movie about my younger self or my daughter or my, you know what I mean? This is about the way I feel.
Yeah.
So
you really get at some of that universality with, the part that really spoke to me was the active shooter drill as just being the newest version of the fire drill. Or like, I'm from the Midwest, we had to do tornado drill.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, it's just like these types of things, these rituals that you go through in this space, although, you know, the acts may be different. You know, I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have, you know, social media, whereas, you know, oh, the kids here, oh, they didn't have Twitter, they didn't have Snapchat or whatnot. So it's just, I mean, there is something to that generational appeal that you are actually addressing within the film, and I think kind of bridges that gap where it's not just, here is, you know, this girl in 8th grade who, if you're not in 8th grade, you don't have anything in common.
Well, yeah, it's also just like being alive now is its own demographic too. I'm just saying, like, I see myself so much more in a 13-year-old girl now than I do a 27-year-old man in 1980. I really do. Like, I just think there's like something so weird and specific going around of what it means to like be alive and hold 1,000 ideas in your own head and live your life and then stand outside yourself and watch yourself live your life and watch other people watch your life and watch other people watch you, watch them watch you. You know, I mean, it's really weird.
It is really weird.
And freaky and I think in the face of that, in the face of something like so unknowable, which seems to be happening now, we're all equal. You know what I mean? Right. 13-year-old, like a 13-year-old 8th grader knows as much about what's going on right now as a fucking sociology professor to me in terms of like, she at least like speaks coherently about the internet to me in a better.
No, for sure.
Like,
well, I mean,
you're not a sociology professor.
No, I am not.
no, it's media studies. Yeah. I was like, I just stepped in it.
No, don't apologize. I wanted to talk a little bit about technology because there's so much of this film that is really just about the uses and the perseverance of technology in our everyday lives. So, can you talk about how you see technology as how it's affecting how young people relate to their peers, to adults, to each other?
Who those reserved for? Anyway, we're going to talk to them too, right?
Totally.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Because, like, they know more than I do about, truly. I don't know, you know what I mean? Truly, like, I feel like people that talk about technology with any sense of authority know nothing about it. You know, and the more you know about the internet and technology, the less you're comfortable talking with certainty about it.
Well, and even as soon as you say something, it's already out of date.
Well, yeah, and also, but like the internet actually specifically robs you of the ability to articulate something long form. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like... Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's, again, when like a 13-year-old that's living in it becomes a social scientist, I'll be very happy to read her dissertation on it. But until then, I just feel like, just take inventory. Like, I just want to describe how it feels. I don't know what the fuck is really going on. I really don't. And anyone that does, I think, isn't close enough to it. You know, we talk about the internet in terms of like Russia, and it's like there's a subtler conversation to have about it, I think, which is like, how does it make us feel in our tummy? Which I think is weird. I think people are anxious. I think people don't like each other. I don't think people like themselves. And these decisions are being made by fucking 30-year-old dudes in Silicon Valley with no social skills. Like, these are the people that are like, no, truly, like, these are people making like the decisions on like entire generations' neurochemistry. And they're sitting around like, like, you know what I mean? Just like voting in a room, 9 dudes. And then it's like, you update Instagram and an entire generation's brain is rewired. Really? I mean, like, whatever. You make a new iPhone with a 50 millimeter lens or whatever. Should kids take compressed, beautiful portraits of themselves? Should that be allowed? Is that even a question? It's never even. You know what I mean? But you want to say shit on television, you got to go to Congress. You know what I mean? But truly, you want to make Snapchat, which is like essentially a place where kids can freely distribute child pornography with each other, which is absolutely true.
Yes.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know. So I would say, like, the solution to me is, like, people like me and generation me and older, like, need to shut up, and, like, hopefully, like, you guys who understand it and know the significance of it will get involved in it. And I don't know.
Change the algorithms.
Yeah, more women in tech will help. Absolutely. I mean, it's just I'm not like pandering. Like, truly, that will help. Or just more social skills in tech, which is kind of synonymous.
Yeah.
But it's wacky, man. I don't know. I don't know. But what do I know? I don't know. But, like, what's weird is that there just doesn't even seem to be an arena for this conversation to be had on these terms. You know what I mean? We talk about the internet in terms of, like, cyberbullying, and it's like, nah, it's weirder than that, you know?
It is. It's weirder than that because it's just so much. It's everywhere and it's anywhere in a way you can't turn it off. And if you do turn it off, you're already, miles behind where your peers are. So you're already in this position where you're trying to keep up all the time to just establish your personhood and, like, in a peer group. So it's like there's all of that pressure to do that. Whereas, there was a period of time where you could have a break from that. And so that's part of what I see as speeding up.
But you view yourself, and this gets back to the movie. So, because I don't want to get to into some shitty Tulsa TED Talk when it's like there are too many TED Talks. But sometimes you watch a TED Talk and you're like, oh, anyone can give a TED Talk. I think something with a movie, it's like to see your social life to commodify your social life, like everything in the economy or whatever works to streamlining things. You know what I mean? It's like, let's make faster cars and that's good. Like, let's make more efficient energy. Let's make more. But if you apply that streamlining mentality to our social life, why should we do that? You can talk to 10 people. Now you can talk to 10,000 people. You can have 5 conversations. Now you can have 500. There's no proof that our social lives do not need capitalist whatever the fuck ratcheting up. They're totally fine. We can't apply that shit to love and our perception of ourselves. And it's being applied like that. It's wild. It's really I thought it started raining. That's new. Okay, they're snapping. I was like, I truly thought I was passing out. Anyway, whatever.
Well, and to bring this back, to kind of put it into the trajectory of, teen films and films about teen girls, specifically, were there other teen movies that inspired you in making this one? Were there any particular images or feelings that you were trying to incorporate into this film?
Catherine Breillat's film Amasseur, which I kind of took the bathing suit directly from. Marissa Silver has a wonderful film called Old Enough. Andrea Arnold, in the actual space of that stuff, Fish Tank is a really good one. But then it was also can you make The Wrestler with a 13-year-old girl? You know what I mean? Can you do or I don't know, Woman Under the Influence? It's sure. Teenage girl under the influence or something. That kind of just it was all. So partly it was a big fan of those young teen movies, and also going could you treat a teen girl's story with the same amount of intensity that bigger, more traditional, tradition. You know what I mean? Can you treat her like Napoleon? Could you treat, waiting in the back of a bus like you're waiting in a U-boat about to storm Normandy? You know what I mean?
Well, especially because she's so young. I mean, in this culture, so much about young girls is already so fetishized. But it's also that point where you're barely legal or actually legal, where it kind of takes that away a little bit, knowing that she's 13, so it kind of silos that off.
Oh yeah, but more. Also, and even I'm saying there probably would be a female filmmaker that would be more that could tackle those issues. I didn't I wanted to afford her that privacy. I'm saying the movie's not about her getting her bra. No, I mean, I actually really did I'm going to afford her some physical privacy in this because that's not. And that isn't where our commonality lies, Of
course,
so it's much
I'm
more
actually saying that it makes it to the point where you can really identify her as a youthful person, as opposed to, I mean, you is the universal you.
Yeah,
Go back
right.
to you were saying about that universal experience where it's really taking out of the equation that she could be a sexual object.
Yeah, I mean, I wish the world around her felt the way you do, but yeah, I understand what you're saying, for sure. I mean, yeah, they're not having such different experiences.
Right. Well, with that, we're going to open it up to questions from you guys. You're probably tired of hearing me talk, so the mics are coming around. Please wait until you have a microphone, and then, Bo is happy to take your questions.
Hi, I'm right here.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. Okay. So in your comedy special, What, you refer to T.S. Eliot, and also I feel like you refer to him a lot. Like, what is with your relationship with T.S. Eliot, and who introduced you to him?
That's hilarious. I will say, like, the honest answer is just bad, which is like, it took me a while to not want to just tell everything I've ever learned in my specials. I mean, like, if I ever had any stupid fact, but no, that's not really totally true. I mean, it was Mrs. Burridge, my junior year high school teacher, introduced me to T.S. Eliot, and my relationship with him is a Ouija board. I think he's rad. I mean, it was in that specific bit of just doing like, oh, love songs used to be this, love songs used to be that. I don't know. I was also 23 and I was a loser too. So, but what do you dig him particularly?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, especially when
I'm saying you probably know him way better than I do. And actually could say something.
No, well, I looked it up because of you. So, hey, yeah.
Hey, okay. I am your Mrs. Burridge. I appreciate that. Well, rock on. Thank you. The intensity with which you raise your hand will not probably affect it, but I appreciate the effort.
Just wanted to let you know that a 70-year-old man could feel like that also.
Oh, that's incredible. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very, very kind. Thank you.
Also, I wanted to ask about your lead actress. What has she done before?
So she was her name's Elsie Fisher, and she was the voice of the youngest girl in Despicable Me, those animated movies. She did the like, it's so fluffy thing. That was her. So she'd done that, and she'd done a couple movies, and then she did take a few years off of acting, understandably, because like being a child actor is just horrifyingly, just awful. And it was like the challenge of the movie was like, how am I going to find someone to play this? Because the person that is right to play this isn't necessarily someone that's going to auditions every day. Because I wanted to feel like a shy kid playing confident, not a confident kid playing shy, which every other actor felt like. And she was just that rare person that had like all of the vulnerability is a silly word, but whatever, she had all of the openness to play Kayla while also all of the, could also carry a film on her shoulders. So, I remember writing it for her, but I didn't. But it's like, I think the movie is incoherent without, with anyone else. I think it like, truly is. But that's really kind, man. Thank you so much. That means so much.
Hi, I'm Rucha. I just wanted to say all your works are really powerful, so thank you for that.
Oh, appreciate it.
But also in Make Happy, you have this line where you say, if you can live your life without an audience, you should do it. And I thought that was really interesting, especially like what the film brings out, where it's really hard to do that. It's hard to live your life without an audience. And what does that mean in this generation to do that? Is it just this this apathy you need to adopt for that, or?
No, definitely not apathy. And also, like, the one thing about that special, like, and my specials in general, is that, like, even the true emotions are still being theatrical. So, I'm being pretty, wacky with everything and, like, definitely leaning into the emo stuff a little bit. But, like, because it's just fun for me. But, like, no, it's not apathy. Again, I don't think it's a great question. Yeah, I because the sort of epiphany I had, I think, in this special was that, like, oh man, I'm a very specific person that has an audience, and that is such a rare thing. And everybody's like, oh, the internet and social media, it's kind of turning everyone's perception of each other into audience members. So it isn't like be apathetic and push those people away, but it's like don't regard. Oh my God, I mean, like I'm like going like I don't want to. I'm gonna sound like some weird like Tony Robbins person or something. But like I don't. It's definitely not apathy. No, it's like Authentic. Yeah, it's something like being authentic, I think, or just being.
Well, it's like living your life without needing to.
But you
put
need
it on.
people. You need.
You don't
people.
need to show a very particular version of yourself in order to be happy. I mean, like, to kind of go back to your film, like, you've got Kayla getting up in the morning, doing her makeup and her hair, and then like, oh, I just woke up like this. The fact that the people who you would really want to have in your life would be the people you would just let see you without makeup or with your hair all askew.
Yeah, your expressed self is not for others to validate. Your lived self isn't a performance. That's a bummer, I think. I don't know, man. I don't know. I like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to like get up and stand up and just like pretend like you know. So I don't know. I don't know. You change. I don't know.
I tried.
No, you did great. You did better than I did. You did a lot better than I did.
I just want to say thank you so much. I've listened to your stuff so many times, and it's brought me out of some really, really dark times.
Oh, that's very
so
sweet.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's very appreciated.
And thank you so much for this movie. It's so nice seeing a real girl, not some Disney person who gets the guy she wanted in the end, and in the end has the perfect clothes and the amazing friends that are fake. And it's just like, wait a minute, I don't have that. Am I doing something wrong? But it turns out I'm not. And it's really nice to see somebody real. So thank you so much.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. That's very nice. Yeah. That's very nice. I'm not saying you're not saying this, but of course, people that look like Disney girls have vivid interior lives too. Then I'm just saying, no, I'm not saying like that. But I'm just saying, you know, I could have told this movie from Kennedy's perspective. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's got their own thing, but I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, really? Incredible. Wow, I never would have thought that. You carry yourself not like an 8th grader. That's very... What's your name?
Neil Cooper Smith.
Oh, my... It's very good. I will say... Your very wonderful question, a very sweet comment, and also very intelligent choice for during this movie to sit that far away from your father. That's really great. Yeah.
Hi.
How are you, man?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, top that.
So I was wondering, in collaborating with the designers and cinematographers and everyone as a director, was there anything that you felt one of them might have done that you think maybe went unnoticed that really contributed to the success of a moment or a scene?
Oh, yeah. Well, like, I mean, really, it's a great question. And it's like 95% of the jobs in the film, if done well, will go unnoticed. You know what I mean? Like, that's like kind of the job of everybody. Yeah, everything. I mean, the production design, Sam Lysenko is you know, I don't think is noticed very much because it blends in so well, but it's very specifically done. Little things like Erica, who worked in props, like that letter that she gives to Kennedy, like, I just pictured it being a folded letter, but Erica was like, I used to make these in 8th grade, and it was the little, like, folded football, and I was like, oh, that's so true and right, and is as meaningful a thing in the movie as anything, you know, and that stuff was just everywhere. You know, that was costume people, everything. They're making those choices all the time. Yeah, and that was it was just to make an environment where people felt open to contribute that stuff, but everywhere. Yeah. I mean, all the designer, everything was.
And we have time for one more question.
Hey man, how's it going? So when you were on Pete Holmes' podcast, you made it weird. You called YouTube the one of the biggest failures of all time, and that really made me like think about like what it initially promised when it first came out and what like culturally it's evolved into. And so looking at it now, is there a way you think we can learn from it and what we can learn from it, especially like in terms of performing and self-image and where we can go to kind of have a positive turnaround with that, like constant exposure of yourself?
No, I don't know. No. It was lost because the old media owns it. You go on trending videos on YouTube or all the things, and it's Tonight Show clips and movie trailers and commercials and music videos. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, the truth is, like, I'm always very uncomfortable speaking about, like, how to be successful or how to get noticed or anything, because I stepped in shit. I just got so lucky. And, you know, for me to, you know, I don't know. I just try to make good stuff and put it out there, I think. But I don't know, man. YouTube's a bummer. It bums me out. It really bums me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Maybe there's one more person here. I just end on a. Yeah.
I wanted. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, sorry. You can both. We both ask questions.
I wanted to ask why particularly you chose that moment for the. I'm not going to call him a rapist because he didn't do anything, but why particularly that choreography instead of somebody who is a little more rigorous about his actions towards a child?
Right. Yeah, it was important for me to portray it felt important to portray a type of situation that when you even said he didn't do anything. You know what I mean? You can imagine her relaying the story 6 months after the fact and going, what do you mean you sat in the back seat and you touched your arm? He didn't do anything. But if you actually sit in these moments and experience them in real time, you feel how violent and emotionally violating the thing is really. And it's like, that is the subjective truth of the experience. And that there is like situations that on paper he did nothing, but that doesn't erase the significance of it. So that was...
Did you have to think on that, or was that your first instance to go to that?
Well, no, and again, it wasn't even like the first instinct was, I'm not engaging with the ideas or the themes first, just trying to just listen to this girl's life and see what situation she's in and then realize what it means. But of course, I was very aware of the significance of that scene. And my position as a man in charge of that scene was very communicative with Elsie and Daniel. I think do a really wonderful job, and her father and everyone there. And I also think Daniel does a really great job of portraying a type of person that on the surface is empathetic and intelligent and is wielding all of that against her. It's not just the bro-y PSA version of this thing. But the thing that really blew my mind in talking to the kids that hadn't changed, and I hope it's changing now, is like, you know, you get sex ed in 8th grade, you learn about how to put on a condom, you learn nothing about the actual dynamic of a relationship, of what it means to relate to somebody. I mean, that is really, really strange to me, that you learn about like anatomy and the physicality of sex and nothing about like the emotional reality of it. So to me, part of what makes that scene is so terrifying is like, she's just being presented with brand new ideas one after another. So of course she has nothing to grab on and even orient herself. And I hope that's changing. And I was talking to teachers, and I think it is, especially with the conversation that's been happening the last 6 months, of going like, yeah, they can put a fucking condom on a banana or whatever, but teach them how to be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, what you need to ask, what needs to be owed, what, you know, it's so, hope that answers that question a little bit. Are you ready to go back there? Do you have a question?
Okay. My name is Ronke, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So you did a series. It was one season for Zach Stone Is Going to Be Famous. Yeah. I love that show. And I wanted to know, what was the significance of making it for you? And also, do you see any parallels between that show and this movie?
Oh, definitely, for sure. I made a little show for MTV. It was like a kid that tries to be famous. It was weird. And I was like, I'm going to reinvent MTV. And then I got into MTV, and I was like, this sucks. But, yeah, I mean, you know, I was like 20, and I wasn't directing it, and I didn't have much control over it, but like, I had such a good time making it. I mean, I did have control over it, and it was super, super informative. And it was sort of a broader comedic version of maybe this idea a little bit. But yeah, I've always been interested in, I think, people that want to be seen, which I think is everybody to some degree. But yeah, I learned everything. I mean, I learned a lot about production by, I don't know if a lot of people in the film program are, you know what I mean? Like, just to be able to be on a set and stuff, you're just learning stuff every day if you keep your eyes and your ears open. But I appreciate you liking the show. It's very kind. Thank you. And thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate your time. I hope you dug the movie, and good luck with the rest of it. Good luck with your education.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, appreciate it.